Hey guys, this is James Hernandez. How's everybody doing today? And welcome to my other horror movie review video. That's right, I'm still continuing with the spooky season, and today I'm going to be reviewing a found footage movie, and it's going to be a horror found footage film. That's right, today I'm going to be reviewing Paranormal Activity. That's right, Paranormal Activity is a found footage supernatural horror film which was released in 2009, and this one is also the first installment of the Paranormal Activity franchise. So, this movie centers on a couple named Katie and Mika who lives in the house of San Diego, California. And they were enjoying their lives, living together even though they're not married because they're boyfriend and girlfriend. And things has not been going so well later on because they're actually are being terrorized by an unseen supernatural entity that has been haunting Katie ever since she was 8 years old. So her boyfriend Mika is trying to find a way how to get the spirit to get out of the house, but it didn't work as much as he wants to because he kind of makes things beyond worse, and then the whole situation in the house gets a lot more worse when the demon gets angry, or technically, if you want to call it a ghost, gets so angry that it starts to terrorize the house by slamming doors and making scary sounds, and just thumping footstep sound effects. And that's basically the whole plot of this movie. So found footage has been quite interesting to me because this is not the first time that I actually watch a found footage movie, because the first found footage film that I actually watched was Cloverfield. And I might review Cloverfield later, either this year or maybe next year. But yeah, Cloverfield was actually the first found footage movie that I actually watched, and that one has inspired me to check out some other found footage movies. Even though I haven't watched a lot of found footage movies, but it's going to be on my to-do list of things. But anyways, let's talk about Paranormal Activity. So the first time I watched Paranormal Activity is when I got all three movies for my birthday. I don't know what year it was, but I was in my teen years, and that was also during the start that I was getting into horror films. So Paranormal Activity is interesting because this is also one of the found footage movies that everyone has seen in the theaters, and everyone has says that the Paranormal Activity is considered to be one of the scariest movies ever made throughout the late 2000s, because this movie came out in 2009. So now that I watched Paranormal Activity, what do I think of it? I actually really liked it. Now, do I think it's a perfect found footage horror movie? No, but do I like it? Yes. Because there are some positives and some negatives I have with this movie. So let's start with the positives. So the positives I would say is that the acting from Katie and Mika, they're actually played by the actors who have the same name, well, the first names. So it kind of makes you think that they're basically are playing themselves, and the movie kind of feels like the film is actually inspired by a true story, but we all know it's not. It's not like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or The Conjuring or even The Strangers, that those horror films are based on true stories. But this movie kind of feels like is based on a true story. So I thought the acting from Katie and Mika, I think their performances were fine. Nothing too special, nothing amazing, but just those two playing boyfriend and girlfriend is actually really sweet. And they were having a really good relationship with each other. And I thought Katie is a character that you really felt bad for because she has been experiencing all these paranormal events and entity events ever since she was a kid. And then Mika is trying everything he can to fight the demon or ghost, whatever you want to call it, to make sure that they don't haunt them ever again. But then unfortunately Mika is not doing anything about it, and he pretty much thinks that, oh, everything is cool and all that, and which I thought it was pretty dumb. But the two characters, I would say, they were pretty good. I thought they were really good characters. Like I said, nothing too amazing or special about them, but they actually do felt like real people, like what you've seen in other movies that has smart writing and a very interesting direction. And yeah. Now the next thing I want to talk about is like the scares. Now there's not like much jump scares as we have in this movie or any like unlike the other horror movies that we got nowadays. They just want to like be over the top of the jump scares. Now here's the thing, guys, about the jump scares. The jump scares is like the trope in horror movies that I'm not quite a huge fan of, because jump scares is usually the trope that it just like jumps like out of nowhere, tries to scare the audience. But I'll get into that when I talk about the bad stuff. But let's talk about the suspense of the film. So whatever like Mika and Katie are sleeping in bed together, and then there was like the screen actually pops up by saying like night 15 and night 19. This is where like the suspense gets really real, when the ghost was like moving the door by itself, and then you hear like the thud of the footsteps, and I was like, oh no, 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 stop, stop, stop. And it just really comes off as like such a suspenseful moment that you don't know like who's like entering the house, and we don't know if someone broke into their house, or even like if their doors and their windows are locked up and closed, and you still sorry, then you actually still hear like all those thumping noises from the footsteps, and it just really creeps me out. There's actually like two scenes that I actually was really scared of. One scene is when like I think it was like night 20 or something, that is when the ghost actually like pulls Katie out of the bed, and then she was being dragged out of the room, and then she is like screaming Mika's name, and then the ghost closed the door, and then Mika goes to save Katie, and it got really real and very realistic, where it was like it turns out that it was like one of the scariest moments, like in not just from the first Paranormal Activity, but also like one of the scariest moments in the Paranormal Activity series. And I thought the movie did a very good job with its suspense and its horror of like we don't know like if the ghost is like around, and there's like a bunch of like investigating moments like something was going really off like around the house, and yeah, it's really scary. And the second part that I actually got creeped out is when Katie was possessed, and she basically got out of bed, and then she was like standing, and she was like staring at her boyfriend Mika while he was sleeping throughout the whole time. And then you see like the time on the camera was like moving fast when it goes from like 12:30 to 3:15, and I was like, holy crap, this is giving me the creeps. And even like when Katie went downstairs, and then Mika heard that Katie is gone, so he goes to investigate to see like where Katie went off to, and it looks like that Katie actually left the house, but he actually saw Katie was actually outside and sitting on this some kind of wheelchair thing, I think. No, it's not a wheelchair. It's like some type of chair that you actually would relax like while you're just like relaxing outside. And then it got really scary again when Mika goes back in the house, and he heard the thud. It was like doom, and he was like, "What the?" And then as soon as he went upstairs, he saw the TV was on and it was static. And this is like something like out of like two horror movies, like Poltergeist as well as The Ring. And when he was like walking slowly to his bedroom, I was like, no, 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 don't go there, don't go there. I don't like this. I don't like this. No. And then when he turns around, then he sees Katie actually just stood there, and she was right there the whole time. I was like, ah, like I literally screamed, and it creeps me out. And that was actually one of the most like terrifying moments I've ever seen in a found footage film. And now I want to talk about the stuff that I don't like. Now, the thing I actually really don't like is that I really have mixed feelings with Mika, because while I actually do think that Mika is is a charming character, but the thing is that he really does like one of the dumbest things in the film, like When he actually promised his girlfriend to not bring the Ouija board, what does he do? He found the Ouija board and he brought it to the house, and that is where the entity in the house got a lot worse. So I really felt like that Mika is not really doing what he thought it was right, and nobody else is like helping them. Not even like the paranormal investigators are the paranormal investigator guy is gonna help Katie and Mika. To which I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, why aren't you? Come on, man. Like, you gotta help those people. Like, they're experiencing something supernatural, and you're just gonna be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna help you. I'm just gonna go away because of this, and I'm, like, you can't. I'm not the right guy to help you, and I'm just like that part really annoys me. Like, I'm sorry, but like that guy, and I was just like, you're so dumb, bro. Come on. But yeah, that part really annoys me. Like when the guy actually doesn't want to help Katie and Mika to deal with this paranormal entity ghost that they're experiencing right now. So it was just it was so dumb. And now for the ending of the movie is when after when Katie and Mika decided at first they wanted to like the move from their house because they couldn't even they couldn't even deal with the ghosting. However, because of the paranormal activity got even a lot worse, and then Katie is now possessed, and then she was like, I think it's best I think it's okay, I think it's best that we should stay. And then her voice changed, and I was like, oh hell no, this is crazy, no. So, and then like at the end of the movie is when Katie actually gets out of bed again. She's possessed, and then she stares at Mika who is sleeping, and then she went downstairs, and then right in a few seconds, she started screaming, and then Mika goes downstairs to see what's going on. And then we don't see like what really happens. Like all we heard was just like the screaming and the grunting, and then after that it was just silent. And then for a couple of minutes, we heard the footsteps coming upstairs. And then a possessed Katie throws Mika towards the camera. And then it is revealed that Mika is dead. And then possessed Katie crawls on the floor. And then she launches at the camera. And that's where the film actually ends. And it is discovered that that Mika was found by police, and Katie was nowhere to be seen. So basically, the ending of the movie actually ends on a jump scare, which I was like, okay, so I think the problem is with the ending of the jump scare is that I think they're trying too hard to like scare the audience. Like instead of like making the audience feel scared, they were just laughing. And that is actually one of my problems like with this movie is that the ending well I understand that they actually had to end the movie like with Katie is like possessed Katie is around, and then they're going to set up for sequels, but I think the ending could have been a little more better. And I think what it makes sense is that if Katie actually did possess Katie did kill Mika, and then she threw Mika into the camera, I think instead of like having like a jump scare, I think what they should do is like Katie actually comes upstairs, stares at the camera, and then she would like leave the house and maybe like close the door, and then the movie just it would have ended right there, and that's about it. Because ending a horror movie with a jump scare, it has really inspired like many horror films to end with a cheap jump scare, to the fact that it gets like really old, very tiring, and so cliche that it just comes off like a spoof. So yeah. Um so yeah, but overall I thought Paranormal Activity, I think it's a really good found footage horror film. And I actually would recommend this movie to to people who actually really likes found footage stuff. And if you actually have like a romantic partner with you, this is the movie that I recommended. I actually don't have a romantic partner, which is kind of sad. But anyways, Paranormal Activity, I do think it's a very good suspenseful supernatural horror film. I wouldn't say it's like my most favorite found footage horror film, because I think there's like other found footage horror films I actually really do like the most than this. Not to say the first Paranormal Activity was bad, but I actually still like the movie. But it's not flawless, so, as I would say. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give Paranormal Activity 1, a 7.9 out of 10. I do like it. There were some couple problems I have with the movie. It's not the scariest horror film that I thought that it was going to be. I did get scared in some moments, but I felt like the movie just kind of feels slow at times, and there were just like too many calm moments, which I kind of find it boring. But when the suspense gets really real, that's where it gets very interesting. So yeah, so overall, Paranormal Activity, very good film. It has its issues, but I still really like it. So, folks, that is my review for Paranormal Activity. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Have you guys seen Paranormal Activity? If so, what did you guys think of it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Are you a fan of found footage, or do you think that found footage is just a joke? And do you like jump scares, or do you think the jump scares really needs to be put to an end, especially to the horror films that we got nowadays? Comment below and let me know. And also, in case if you guys are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on the notifications when I make future videos. And stay tuned for the Halloween themed episode of Characters Face Off is going to be coming. That killer doll's going to fight that killer leprechaun no matter what. So, yeah. Anyway, so hope you guys enjoy my review for Paranormal Activity. I'll see you guys next time, and take good care of yourselves.